assessed property tax value transfer. We're going to handle the whole Prop 19 thing today. And when we talk taxes, the first things Kathy and I like to do is identify how we can break things into relative pieces, understand how things interrelate to each other. And when we look at Prop 19, which we're all familiar with from this last election, right? We all paid really close attention. We all read up on Prop 19 and we all went out and voted. Prop 19 really breaks into two distinct benefits or detriments, depending on who you are and how you look at it. One is a benefit or detriment to those still alive, okay, the transfer of current assessed value in your home. The other is a benefit or detriment to heirs, people who inherit property or get transferred property from living parents or living grandparents. So Kathy's going to handle the heirs side of thing and discuss how property is transferred and how basis or assessed value is transferred from grandparent or parent to child or grandchild. And I'm going to handle how, while we're alive and we're selling our house, how we would transfer that basis or that assessed value from property to property. So with that in mind, here we go. Assessed property tax and value transfer is available for anybody in California who is either any of these three, over 55, so that's 55 years and 1 day old, disabled, and the law actually says severely disabled. So I'm not sure what the difference there is and how we would nitpick that, but I'm sure there's a definition somewhere that gives us a better idea, or impacted by a disaster. And that was initially wildfire. So if you lost your home to a wildfire, then this kicks in for you regardless of your age. So you don't have to be all three. You don't even have to be two of these. You just have to be one of them. If you're 55 or older, if you're severely disabled, regardless of age, or if you lost your home in a disaster, regardless of age, you could transfer your assessed value of the home you just sold or the home you just lost to a new home. And the next part of that is, what property does it relate to? Your residence. Only, ever, your residence. So this is the place you live or the place you used to live, okay? This is not your vacation home. This is not your commercial property. This is not your office building, Frank. This is your home. It only relates to your home, okay? So that's another important part of Prop 19. And what it allows you to do is take your existing assessed value with you. Now, a lot of times when we're working with somebody, one of the things that might be holding them up from moving from their existing home to a new home could be the fact that when they bought that existing home 30 years ago, they paid 50 grand for it, and it has an assessed value of nothing. And so their property taxes are almost nothing. And now they're looking at buying a new home. And when they look at that and say to themselves, oh my goodness, look at the increase in property taxes I'm going to pay, that keeps them in their house. And in fact, that was never what Prop 13 and all that was about. What Prop 13 was about keeping your home taxes as low as possible so that as you got older and as your property went up in value, you didn't get priced out of your own home by virtue of property tax. So this is the ability in Prop 19 to take that existing assessed value with you. So who or where can you do that? Well, right now, anywhere in California, based on this new law. When Prop 19 passed, it basically said if you move from Hemet to Barstow, San Francisco to San Diego, doesn't matter, as long as you're inside of California, you can take that assessed value with you. Now, natural question would be, and I can see it on Garrett's face right now, but how about if I moved to Boise, Idaho? No, see, the fact that it's Idaho, Garrett, it's a different state, okay? Has to be California, all right? And so all those people moving out of California to somewhere else don't get to take that value with them. This is only inside of California. But there's a lot of places in California you could live. So this is going to be beneficial for a lot of people. What's the value? What do I have to buy? How do I keep that, to a number where I can take that assessed value with me? Well, you can do it to a home with any value. And the way that works is quite simply, if you sell your house for $1 million and you buy one for $1 million, you're good. You can take that assessed value, even if it was $50,000, you can take that assessed value with you into that new home for $1 million. If you buy a house for $2 million, you sell your house for $1 million, you buy one for $2 million. If it's higher, you're going to pay property tax based on your old assessed value plus the difference in value from the house you sold to the house you bought. So in that $2 million example, let's say I've got an assessed value of $50,000. I sell my home, it's got a fair market value of $1 million. I buy a home for $2 million. I now have an assessed value of $1,050,000 because I've got that difference in the increased price plus my old assessed value. So as long as I'm buying even or slightly down, because we wouldn't want to buy significantly down, I don't think. But depending on how we do that, if we're at the equal value, it's no change. If we're higher than that, we still get our old assessed value on that amount that we sold for. We just pay a little extra if we bought up. If we're constructing a home, that same thing would be true. So if we're doing that, what's the timing of this? How long do I have to purchase or to sell and repurchase and still be able to transfer that assessed value? It's got to be within 2 years of my sale. So if I sell today, close escrow today, and decide to take a world tour, and in the COVID age, that might be hard to do, but let's say I do. So let's say I travel around the world for 1.5 years. Okay. Now it's June of 2023, and I meet with one of you and I decide to buy a new home. When I do that, because I'm closing within that 2-year window, I can take my old assessed value to the new property. So I've just got to do it within 2 years. If it's construction, same deal. I've got to get my certificate of occupancy. I've got to move in within that 2 years. So it's not just buying that piece of land and putting a board in the ground. I've actually got to build it. I've got to occupy it in the 2 years. But I've got 2 years to do it, which is a good window of time. There we go. And here are the important dates for all this stuff. We voted on it back in November, but the current rules regarding transfers of property and assessed value, the current rules are in place until March 31st of 2021. The new rules take effect on April 1st of 2021. So if I'm in escrow right now and I'm looking at, this whole property transfer thing, and I want to keep that assessed value, I may have to delay the close of my escrow if the current rules don't help me the way the new rules do. Then I'd want to delay that closing until April 1st. So be aware of that one. And how many times can I do it? Do it up to 3 times. So if, let's say, your house burnt down and you're only 40 and you have to take your old basis to your new basis or to your new house, you do it when you're 40. Then when you're 55, you can do it again. And then when you're 65, you can do it again. So you could do it up to 3 times. You don't have to do it. You could move from one house to the next and not take your basis with you. You could leave it, your assessed value, you could leave it there. Or you could take it with you, and you could take it with you up to 3 times. How's it going to get implemented? This is always the big question. And this is one of the things that we love so much about tax law. Somebody comes up with an idea. Somebody convinces a bunch of other people to buy into the idea. Then they pass it, and then everyone stands around wondering how we're going to make that work. And that's the phase we're in right now. It passed, and all the assessors' offices up and down the state are all trying to figure out how to make this work. There were old rules that did this, and it was limited to different counties. It wasn't every county in California. And so in those old rules, they had forms. I'm sure they're just conforming those forms to make this work, but we don't know yet. Honestly, we have no idea how this is going to work at this moment. And I was, Kathy, I went up online this morning and Googled and looked and was searching everything. Could not find anything as of this morning at 9 o'clock. So, rest assured that because this doesn't take effect until April 1st, they'll have something for us at some point soon. But we don't know quite yet. So with that, yep, that's it for me on what happens if you're alive and want to move your old or your current assessed property value to the new home you're buying. That's how the rules are going to work.